Good morning. So, Shania Johnson asked, on a heat whelping system, is it warm enough to let the heat come up through the floor and through towels? So the answer to this is it is thermostatically controlled, so the heat stays on till it gets the right temperature. But if you have really like a thick carpet in there or a wooden floor, it will not come up through that. So what we recommend is, if you don't have a floor, put down a vinyl floor or use what's called chloroplast and cut a sheet of that up. If you have a plastic tray, stick it at the bottom of that, and then you put some hand towels down there and it'll be fine, or some pee pads, and that'll work great. But if you put a thick piece of carpet or a thick piece of rubber that's that thick, no, it won't go through, so you'll have a problem. You can always tell, because put your hand on it, it'll feel warm. If it's not feeling warm, it's not getting hot enough. So she also asks, once I get pregnancy confirmation after 4 weeks, how do I begin feeding my pregnant dog? Put her on a higher protein diet, so puppy food, to switch her from regular adult dog food to puppy food, and start giving her 5 milligrams of folic acid every day and a multivitamin. And people ask me what multivitamin. They're all good. Just get one that's made by a brand that you recognize, and it'll be fine. Kelly Polisi. I love your posts. I wish they weren't all titled the same. Yes. So what's going on here is that all of these posts, most of these posts these days, are all Q&A sessions, and I don't know what the questions are until I read them. So they're not indexed. I've got a service. I have a subscription service, and I will include information on that probably in another video or two, how you can join that subscription service. And everything is it's all in a lecture format. Everything is got a preview on each section, and then each individual lecture talks about specific things. So it's all broken down for you, so you can go and find out exactly what you want and go revisit it any time. But it does cost a bit of money. It takes me quite a bit of time and effort to provide that service, and also put it on a video server. But I'll include some information on that in another one of these YouTubes in the next few days, because that service is now up and running. Okay. Someone's trying the hematoma and they're hoping it works in the dog. It will. Someone's saying thank you, you're welcome. Brooke, Saturdays. She says, I know you choose to avoid Brindle, but she wants to know if that is a coat color or a pattern. It's a pattern. So I've never seen that question before. It's a good question. So what's going on here is brindling affects the way that colors show up on a dog's fur. So in brindling, what happens is you get bands of colors. So you can have a blue brindle dog. It's still a blue dog, but it has variations or striations of blue in the pattern. So there's other things that do this, like merle. Merle is another thing that is a pattern changer. So merle is a pattern changer, and by the way, it is a dominant gene. One copy is enough to make it happen. Same thing with brindle. You don't have to have both parents giving out a copy of brindle to produce a brindle dog. If the dog gets brindle from either parent, it will show brindling. And brindling can vary in how much you see, but basically it is a pattern, and it's striations of the color or bands. Good question. What is considered a large litter? Well, of course, this depends on a dog. If you've got a lab, then typical litters in labs are 10 puppies. A small litter might be 5, and a big litter might be 14. Let's talk about French Bulldogs. Average litter size in a French Bulldog, 3 to 5 puppies. Obviously a small litter is 1. Large litter, the largest litter I've ever seen personally in a French Bulldog is 13. That's seen that one time. I've had quite a number of 11s and 10s. I've had a lot more 7s and 8s, and majority with 3 to 5s. So I'd say that 3 to 5. So, where is that? 4 is about an average size litter. If you looked at all the litters I've ever had, added up the total number of puppies divided by the total number of litters, I think the number would probably come up to about 4 if I was guessing. I don't know if that's true, but that's a guess. Edgar Arguelles says, lovely videos. Did an AR on my girl 21 days ago. She has stopped eating. Yes, so what's going on here is typically morning sickness. So morning sickness shows up sometime between 2 weeks to typically 3 to 4 weeks after AI or after breeding that they can have morning sickness and be off their food. Typically, they get out of that fairly quickly within a few days. So they could be doing some vomiting possibly. They can be doing some not having a very good appetite. So this is what I would do always whenever I have a dog that I'm worried about whether or not there's a real problem. Take the dog's temperature. Temperature of 102 or higher, that's of real concern. And then you have to start worrying about whether or not the dog got pyometria. Pyometria is an infection of the uterus, which was caused by the insemination or the mating. And dogs with a closed pyometria, the only signs that you'll have that they've got this going on is a raised temperature at 102 or higher, stops eating, becoming listless or lazy, or just generally obviously not feeling well. So check a temperature. The other thing that you can do is you can introduce some different foods, something that's very special that maybe she'll eat. You could scramble up some eggs, you could go boil up some chicken and rice, those kind of things, and see if you can get her interested. The problem with that is if you start that game early in the pregnancy, you may be doing it for the next 4 weeks, but she may start to become a picky eater. So I would give her a little bit of time to get over this, but I would definitely be checking her temperature. That would be the first thing to do. So Lorraine Smith says, when do you recommend shipping semen? She's at a 12. She's at day 12 and an 8.56. Well, on an IDEX machine, you'd expect the next day to be a good breeding day, or the day after if you're doing a TCI or a surgical. So once you get to ovulation on the IDEX machine, that's 5. It goes up about 70% every day, and you want to breed 2 days after ovulation, typically. So if you kind of do the math on that, that would mean the day yesterday she'd have been at a 5. Today she's at an 8. Tomorrow she's at something close to a 15. So breed tomorrow, and then I would breed 2 days later and make sure her numbers are up above 20. And if that's the case, you should have a successful breeding. Someone just saying thank you very much. Natalie says thank you. You're welcome for this information. Dale Harwell, my last dad had a puppy with a cleft palate. During pregnancy, I gave her Mama 5 milligrams of folic acid, oxymate, and Nuvet. Is it possible that the combination of Nuvet and oxymate gave her too much vitamins? Probably not. I mean, certainly, I wouldn't think that look, here's the problem. I mean, it's a real problem for humans where you start taking all of these different additives and you start getting too much of a particular vitamin. So, this idea that more is better is not true in terms of medications. So you've got to medicate properly. So it is important that you do start to read your labels for everything that you're doing, including your dogs and yourself, to make sure that you're not overdoing it. And to give you an example that got my wife in trouble, you can only have a certain amount of Tylenol. She ended up taking too much Tylenol because it was in 3 different products that she was taking. She hadn't realized it, and she got in trouble over it and started to have some liver shutdown. She got over it okay, but it was a scary situation. And it was all because of over-the-counter medication that was being taken where she exceeded 1 gram of Tylenol in a daily dosage. So I don't think that's your problem here. I think that it takes a lot of extra vitamins to get in trouble, and I doubt that caused the cleft palate. It's probably just an unlucky thing. But the point here is you have brought up a question that's relevant, and that is you need to pay attention to what you're giving your dog. If you're giving multiple medicines, and add up the total amount of each ingredient to make sure that you're not getting up to silly numbers. Somebody here had an eyelid that was bulging out, a cherry eye, and they massaged it and fixed it. The other one they had to have surgery on. Well, good. You got one of the 2 fixed. That's good. How long do puppies no longer need the heating system? 3 to 4 weeks. What you're going to find is while you've got the heating system on and they're congregating under the pig rail, they're obviously enjoying the heat. When they stop doing that, you can turn the heat off because they no longer need it. They're not seeking that extra heat. So they'll tell you, and typically 3 to 4 weeks. If you leave it on longer, you're not going to hurt anything, by the way. You're not going to hurt a thing. What should I look for to go to my vet having a pregnant female getting close to heat? I've got lots of videos on this, and I recommend that the 30-minute videos that go through the whole thing. So it is super important that you don't take puppies early, because you can absolutely lose puppies over the next few days because their lungs haven't acclimated to being able to breathe air. It's super important you don't get this late, because then you have puppies presented in the middle of the night and stuck puppies. So it is really important to get this right. But I'm not going to give you all the details here because it's just too long for this Q&A session. But if you look under, I think I've got a video that says don't lose puppies. Just put that word, put the word lose, L-O-O-S-E, in one of my video things, and you'll see a video pop up there that you can go look at. So there we go. There's 11 minutes of fun. See ya. Bye. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.